A Massachusetts woman who had been charged with murder for the death of a newborn baby in Aroostook County almost 40 years ago pleaded guilty today to manslaughter.
Leanne Daigle was arrested at her home in Lowell, Massachusetts last June.
Daigle is the mother of baby Jane Doe, who was found dead in Frenchville in December 1985. Investigators say the baby was born and then abandoned in sub-zero temperatures in a gravel pit.
Officials say advancements in DNA and genetic genealogy technology helped detectives crack the case. Daigle was known as Leanne Garrett at the time of the baby's death.
At today's hearing, a prosecutor for the Attorney General's office laid out the evidence they would have presented if the case had gone to trial.
During the morning hours of December 7, 1985, Armand Pelletier discovered the naked, bloody body of a baby girl on the lawn of his home. Maine State Police responded and collected the body of baby Jane. She appeared to be full term and was found unclothed, unswaddled, and partially frozen.
Although she pleaded guilty to manslaughter, a sentencing agreement was not part of the deal. A date for her sentencing has not been set.
Daigle could face a maximum penalty of up to 20 years in prison.